Hi, Brian, Nico, Dustin, and Mike. Lindsley Registry here. Laura from The Walking Dead. I love every opportunity I can to talk about the show. I miss it so much. It was such a fun time in my life, and I think I was cheated not getting to get eaten by zombies. Um, but yeah, so many good memories, and every time I'm asked about it, I just get taken back to running around in the woods, being covered in fake blood, bugs, all that good stuff. Sending you a lot of love, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about it. Don't go out there.
They've conquered the big screen. Now, get ready for the spin-off sure to send chills down your spine. It's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin in Don't Go Out There, the series.
Welcome back, everybody, to DGOT, the series. We really appreciate y'all listening. We hope y'all have been enjoying these series reviews. I know we have. It's been a lot of fun. Just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgooutthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. I am excited for Dustin's series this week. Dustin, you want to announce your pick and why you picked it?
Yep. So I think it was the first show that I picked on this endeavor. The DGOT, the series, was The Walking Dead season 1. And there's so many seasons and a lot, the last 3 or 4, take them and leave them. I get it why a lot of people don't like them. But the first several I think are really good. So I was like, before we get our, too many pots on the stove here, let's go back. Let's revisit. So I picked The Walking Dead season 2, which I think is a really good season. I've seen some people didn't care for it as much, but to me, I like it a lot because it introduces so many characters that are vital and so many events happen that are crucial to the later seasons that you haven't seen, Nico. I know. I'm excited for you to experience this. So as another part of the reason I wanted to pick this, Brian binged it when I picked season 1, finished the entire series.
Yeah, he did.
And I love it as much as Brian. I'm glad that he loved it. And so I was like, yeah, let's do season 2 and kind of get a head start on knocking out some of these other seasons.
I'll go next. I'm just happy to see you two guys agreeing on something. It's nice to see. It doesn't happen too often, it seems like. No, but I saw some, listener criticism as well about season 2 not being as good, etc. I can't speak on the whole season because I've only seen episodes 1 and 2 so far, but I thought they were great. I thought the first episodes we're doing this week were fantastic. Put right back in the mood. It was nice seeing the characters again. The action was intense. Hell of a cliffhanger for episode 1. I had a good time with it. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so happy to be back into the Walking Dead universe. And I know you said I binged them all. I don't know where we stood at the last we spoke, but, as it was pretty well discussed in the season 1 episodes, I did purge all of the regular show. And since then, have also watched The Ones Who Lived, which was my favorite of those spinoffs and wrapped up Rick so damn well as Daryl Dixon and Dead City. Dead City was also great. Daryl, I really couldn't get into really. But anyway, watching these 2 episodes again just reignited my love for the franchise. And in what may be a hot take, and this is based on my memory of a lot of Walking Dead, that I inserted into my head all at one time here. But if I remember correctly, this is my all-time favorite season, and it has my
Yeah.
all-time favorite character in Lauren Cohen's Maggie. I've only done this one other time on this show with Ollie Larder, but I have the biggest crush on Lauren Cohen. So anyway, spoiler alert for the whole season. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Looks like we dropped Nico for a minute. So while we're, is
Maybe it's
this
not.
this isn't the prison season, right?
No,
So
no.
that's
This
my
is.
favorite season,
Oh,
just
gotcha.
because, like that's, well, I know they're at the prison for in multiple seasons because
Yeah.
the prison falls apart in a different season than where they started there. But I
Right.
just think like in my if I put myself in their shoes, that's the kind of place I would look for. Someone's got great security, like fences all around, and
Yeah.
the way that they farmed and really built
Yeah.
a community. That's the reason I like this so much. But this season is great.
I remember you saying that, I think, whenever I was watching through it. I don't know. I just love this one so much. And I think it's the
Yeah.
farm setting that I love so much. And I don't think we leave the farm in this season, or at least
See, I
not till
can't
the very,
remember
very end. I can't remember either. I don't
because
want to talk too
don't
many spoilers for
I
listeners
know
and stuff. So
don't they? The prison is the next stop, right?
I don't know. I don't remember. It might
Dude,
be.
that's me. It all kind of runs
Because
together.
right, they're at the prison for a long ass time
Yeah.
because what's his name from that other town? Yeah, the governor fucks him up in the prison, but that's
Hmm.
2 seasons or 3 seasons from now. So
Dude, the governor sucks so bad.
oh, he was the worst. He was the
But
best villain, I guess. He was the
yeah,
best.
I was gonna say he sucks so bad, but like he was a great character as this
Yeah.
guy. You hated him, and
Yes.
it's kind of the same with Negan. Like you hated Negan, but I get Negan. I get Negan.
I never ever got into being with Negan. Even in the you haven't watched it, but even in the Dead City with Maggie and him,
Yeah,
I just was like, he's still fine. He's fine, but I could not get out of my head what he did.
what he
Plus
did.
plus to her husband. So it's like, or
Yeah,
her. So I was like, I just don't. It was forced to me to have them two
yeah.
together. Now the Rick one, I don't know if you've seen that one. The
I
ones
haven't
who
watched any
lived.
of them.
That one is good. That one fixes. It does what, and I know you haven't seen this either, but it does what Dexter New Blood did for Dexter. It kind of
Okay,
fixes the finales.
dude, that the way The Walking Dead wrapped up was so frustrating.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the
And
way,
plus, like not knowing what the fuck happened to Rick and all that shit, like that
yeah,
was frustrating as hell. But that the ones who lived fixes all of
fixes it.
that. Yeah.
Have you watched? Have you started Fear the Walking Dead? Or are
No,
you going to?
I don't know. Like, how does that fit in? Because not having the same
It's a
characters frustrates me. So,
it's a prequel, so it's
oh,
like a
okay,
Quiet Place day one.
interesting.
And
Okay,
I'll be honest, when it came out, my ex-wife and I we did watch a few episodes, and it is pretty good. But you're right, it was it threw us off because it was on TV the same time The Walking Dead was, and so
yeah,
in my mind, I'm tuning into Fear the Walking Dead, wanting to see Rick, wanting to see
right.
Maggie, and I was like, none of those people are in this. But when you separate that and you just watch that, it is pretty good. Well, clearly, I mean, they've had a lot of seasons of it.
I spent so much time with those characters; it just was hard for me to not. If it didn't have them, I didn't really care a whole lot about it. Even
I may,
Daryl took me a long time. I couldn't get into it.
I never finished the first season. I may pick the first season of Fear the Walking Dead down the road. That way, we can just experience it, and if we don't like it, I won't pick the rest.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys, you got anything else on Walking Dead season 2? Me and Dustin just talked a lot. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of that out. So if I leave some of it in and it doesn't make sense, it's because I had to cut a lot of spoilers out because we just talked a lot. But if nobody has anything, we'll go ahead and get right into what lies ahead. The season 2 opener here. And we pick up where we left off last season, right after Rick and the crew narrowly escaped the CDC, and we see them decide, fuck Atlanta, we are out of here. The ATL is being overrun by walkers, and they decide to give Shane's idea of finding refuge at Fort Benning a try. Before leaving, though, Rick tries to contact Morgan Jones one last time about the city, and he also reminds us as an audience that the CDC scientist told him something that he dare not even repeat. And I'm gonna say I don't even think that we find out in this season what that is, but maybe not.
I don't think it's. I don't think we find out for a long time. Honestly,
Yeah, it's a long ass time.
yeah.
So just kind of forget about that. we last saw Lenny James Morgan in the series opener, and Rick also warns him about Atlanta. We also hear about how he's trying not to lose faith for his family as we see a montage of fuckface Shane gazing at Rick giving Lori a kiss. The group abandons some vehicles in their convoy and just take the RV, the Cherokee, and Merle, now Daryl's motorcycle. And as they drive away, we get that unmistakable opening music. Inside the Cherokee, Lori reminisces about a trip to the Grand Canyon when Carl was a baby, and Sophia asks if they could go with them when they go this time, to which Rick promises. In the RV, Dale is driving that baby. God, I still think Dale's a douche. And Andrea watches Shane take apart his gun to clean it. He starts to show Andrea how to clean her own gun, and she tells him about how it was a gift from her father before she and Amy took off on the road trip. They find the interstate blocked by abandoned vehicles, and Glenn suggests that they use the other highway they passed, but Dale, of course, doesn't want to because of gas, and his piece of shit RV blows a hose. They begin to salvage the abandoned vehicles, hoping to find a spare radiator hose to use. As Glenn and Dale look to rig up the radiator hose, Rick and Dale take watch while the others are out on their own missions. It's then when Rick spots a big-ass horde of walkers and warns everyone to hide under their vehicles and wait for the horde to pass.
Yeah, first off, I'm just excited to be starting season 2, and I appreciate this series, DGOT, the series show, making me watch it. So I really appreciate us doing this show because it's expanding my horizon television-wise. Opening speech by Rick is voiced perfectly by Andrew Lincoln, and it puts you in their mode of survival. Like, you can hear the desperation in his voice. Shane, you can tell, is still fond of Lori with the look he has on his face. Wide open highway in Atlanta. Maybe a zombie attack isn't that bad. Just kidding. Walking Dead, Walking Dead, it has a fire theme song as well. We touched on that in Stranger Things, but I like the Walking Dead theme song a lot too. I skipped it, but I did let it play for a few good seconds before I did. It's a good one. I noticed this was directed by Ernest Dickerson. We've seen him on our show previously as the director of Bones and Demon Knight over on the movie show. This world they're living in, Lord have mercy. This sucks, right? You can't ever mess up or you're basically doomed. Make one wrong turn and you're stranded because of lack of fuel. Boy, I be pissing down my leg a lot. And now the RV just messed up. All the hope that I had left in me, it would probably feel depleted at this point, right? The how about a nice cup of shut the hell up sign in the RV? I can't lie. It gave me a chuckle. Like it made me laugh for real. And why is Grimes not shooting right now when seeing them in the scope? Oh, okay, I get it now. There's a butt fuck ton of them. Makes sense why he's not shooting them. Ominous opening, but I'm right back in the swing of it from season 1, and I'm loving the opening so far.
Yeah, bear with me. I've got kind of a lot on quite a few sets of scenes here, but I'll start by saying you may notice that this episode is longer than a lot of the other episodes. It's 68 minutes. But the reason for that is because budget cuts forced 2 episodes to be condensed into 1. Originally, season 2 was supposed to have 14 episodes, not 13. The first episode was supposed to be Miles Behind Us, and the second episode was What Lies Ahead. Miles Behind Us was supposed to tell the story of how the group got out of Atlanta after fleeing the CDC. And Miles Behind Us was also going to include a flashback scene showing the backstory of the Army Ranger played by Sam Witwer that was in the tank and was shot by Rick after he returned. But those deleted scenes are on the DVD Blu-ray. So if you want to watch them, you can seek those out. Anyway, really good look at the decaying Atlanta in the open. And we get early looks at some walkers flexing the makeup effects already. Good stuff. And I love that we open with Rick still reaching out to Morgan over the radio. Gives us a logical reason for the recap he gives. And we get the plan. Fort Benning. Got it. Good to see that Shane is still a jealous hater. Watching Lori and Rick kiss with that look in his eyes. Punk. Also, really, you guys mentioned the theme. But something that's underrated with the theme is how they crossfaded the score. They faded it out and faded the opening theme in. That was awesome. I thought that was incredible. Something I never noticed. I've seen season 2 probably 3 times. And I didn't notice it until this watch through was the Daryl was driving a Nazi bike. Motorcycle had an SS logo on the gas tank. That's wild. Didn't see that before.
Never noticed that either.
Good dynamic building with the Grimes family and Carol and Sophia in the car. You need that emotional connection that we get there for what's to come. So I think it was very quick, brief. It didn't linger on it, but I like that. It makes us care. Okay, Sophia wants to go to Grand Canyon. Rick's not going to go without her. So it makes what happens more impactful. Speaking of Daryl's motorcycle, I again say that's a very inconvenient vehicle to choose. I know he wants to be the cool guy, but they're so loud. It's a Walker magnet more than a chick magnet.
True.
Uh,
True.
Lori saying this is a graveyard was so annoying. Like, you don't know how you feel about hunting for supplies that could save your life. Get off your high horse, little Debbie.
I was waiting how long it would take for you to throw that in there.
And Nico, I'm glad you mentioned it. I love the sign over Andrea's shoulder when she's at the table in the RV. Shout out to Ben Stiller and Happy Gilmore. You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up. So I thought that was good. Incredibly irresponsible of Shane to waste water like that. Like, I know there's a lot of water on that truck, but you should be saving it. You have no clue how long you need that to last, you idiot. Tension picks back up nicely when the walkers start pouring in. They lured us into this, false sense of security here. We think, okay, we're in the clear. We got some time. And then bam. Not sure how they didn't smell the group, though. Like, the walkers smell humans. They're walking right past them. I know they're under cars, but come on. But I'll forgive it some. It's a solid open.
All right. With Dale on the roof of the RV and Shane and Glenn under a nearby truck, Andrea has no clue that they're being overrun, but finally spots the horde and hits the deck herself, taking shelter in the bathroom, where she unsuccessfully tries to put her gun back together. She eventually has to use the old trusty screwdriver given to her by Dale on the roof on one of the walkers as it breaks inside the RV. As my guy T-Dog attempts to hide, though, he accidentally slices his arm open on a broken window frame, resulting in him bleeding like a stuck pig everywhere. Delirious from blood loss, he's almost grabbed by the walkers until Daryl emerges from behind a vehicle and covers himself and T-Dog in a mound of dead bodies, hiding their scent from the walkers. As the horde finally reaches the Cherokee, Sophia is spotted and emerges from the vehicle and runs into the forest, followed by some of the undead. Rick runs after her as Carol tries to scream for Sophia, but is stopped by Lori to prevent her from attracting the herd. She probably would have already done that, like you guys said, but, here we are. Rick grabs Sophia and takes off. He tells her he's going to draw the walkers away and to run to the highway if he doesn't come back. He instructs Sophia to wait by the creek bed and then chases after the two walkers. I said that like that because that's fucking important. Using a rock, he's able to kill them hand to hand, one at a time, Captain Kirk double-handed style. When he returns to the creek bed, though, Sophia is fucking gone, like an idiot. We jump ahead a few minutes, and Daryl, Glenn, and Fuckface Shane has joined him in looking for Sophia. They find where the tracks veer off, and Glenn and Fuckface Shane head back to the highway with the jobs of keeping peace and calm in the group by occupying them with jobs at the abandoned vehicles. Getting the road cleared means they can turn the RV around once it's repaired and double back to the bypass Glenn flagged on the map now that they have fuel. Carl finds some of Blade's knives, I think, and swords, and runs back to tell Fuckface Shane when he blows him off. Lori notices and then tells Shane not to take things out on him, to which Shane reveals he's leaving. Lori reminds him that he tried to rape her back at the CDC, and he just says that he's gone as soon as he gets the chance. Go ahead.
Brian, what adjective do you use to describe Shane, real quick?
It's Fuckface Shane.
Okay, I just make sure I'm hearing that right.
S.
I'm just going to give our listeners like a little bit of insight here. Like, whenever we do our scene by scene breakdown, we put like where it stops and starts. You're absolutely correct, Brian. Andrea's Madden awareness rating is quite possibly the lowest we've ever seen. No peripheral vision, no head on a swivel. She would be terrible on punt coverage. Like, she'd be getting cracked back like crazy. Carol, she can't stop whimpering, and T-Dog cut the hell out of his forearm. Someone finna die here, huh? Well, not yet, but who knows? Maybe in the next few episodes. The makeup on these zombies is incredible. The one that entered the RV with Andrea, I thought looked spectacular. Like, shout out to Greg Nicotero and those guys. They look great. Andrea is dumb as hell, though. Why are you trying to put this gun together all clumsy, loud as hell, she pisses me off. Like, I mean, she's got some good moments later, but right here, she's just annoying the shit out of me. Daryl with a great Randy Orton out of nowhere kill. Andrea with a nice stab to the eye kill. I'm really liking the gore so far. Smart thinking by Daryl again, hiding he and T-Dog under some other corpses. That boy's a thinker, I tell you what. Sophia, I know you're scared, but screaming isn't helping the situation right now underneath this car. Shut the hell up, kid. Grimes to the rescue, but takes a completely unnecessary roll down the hill. Like, what if you get hurt, Sheriff? You're too important to this group to risk that. Like, come on, man. I'll give Grimes a lot of props here, though. He consoles Sophia, brilliantly conveying the survival message to her. I'm a big fan of Sheriff Grimes so far, and I laughed out loud at him throwing this rock at the second walker. Dude, that was an impressive ass throw. Like I thought it was hilarious though. Daryl cracked me up with his line. You want a lesson in tracking, or you want to get off the interstate? Dude, I thought that was funny as hell too. Shane fed up with Carl's ass. I ain't your daddy. Quit asking me to tell your mom what to do. I feel bad for Carl. He is in a sticky little situation. He don't know what's going on. And I can't really blame Shane for wanting to leave. Like it's an awkward situation, but I agree he is a little fuckface. Go ahead, D. Frank.
Yeah, T-Dog here with the dumbest injury of all time. Legitimately made me mad when he sliced his arm. Like, first of all, why wasn't he under a car like everyone else? And then second of all, how was he not more careful? Like, how did that injury even happen? What are you doing, you idiot? Then Andrea, she should have closed the door to the RV as soon as she saw the herd. And she definitely should have stopped making racket with the gun, moron. Shout out to Dale for saving her, clutch like Kobe. Sophia crying like that was annoying. Not necessarily her crying, because that's rational for a little girl to do, but the fact that it didn't draw the whole herd back. Like those things walk so slow, yet in just a few seconds they all disappear except for two. Nah, come on. The whole herd would have turned around and came back. Also, I'm not sure why Rick didn't just run her right back to the group. Stashing her in the woods was a dumb plan to me. It was two walkers who move at a snail's pace versus him who can run. Right. Sophia should have never got lost. Like, if he runs back to the group with her, Daryl's there, the rest of the group's there, Shane, they could have killed those two walkers. There's no reason for Sophia to get lost. It annoyed me so. It annoys me every time I watch it. I did, like you said, Nico, I got a good laugh when he threw the rock and hit the walker in the face. Like, because it's just like he smashed on the other one, but he threw it like a baseball, and just watching the rock bounce off the walker's head and it dropped like a sack of rocks. It was so funny. Daryl calling Glenn short round was incredibly racist, but also kind of funny. That is from Indiana Jones, Nico, but save your time. Don't watch it.
It's great.
Back at the group, I know one thing. I'd be hopping in that yellow Mustang that's sitting there. That would be my new ride. That thing was nice. And then I rolled my eyes when Carl was trying to get the knife kit after Sophia just went missing. They're going to let Carl out of their sight? Come on, man. Right. Yeah. Like, that's just bad parents and bad adults. And also a defiant little boy. Like, you saw what happened to Sophia, your friend. Stay with the group, idiot. Not the best set of scenes, to be honest with you, but still not bad. I still enjoyed them.
Yeah. And I would like to apologize for absolutely nothing because I hate Shane.
I hate Andrea way more, though.
I don't really care for Andrea either.
And it's really 1A and 1B.
Or Dale. I'm not a fan of Dale either. So damn. Okay.
Dale kind of annoys me a little bit too.
He's a little bitch, and he gets to be even more of a bitch later on. So
come on, man. He's that old man that just wants what's best for everyone.
Yeah. Fuckface Shane starts up the car he's been working on and picks up an emergency local radio signal, which gives the group hope for a minute, but it ends up being fuck all and complete waste of time and hope. Daryl picks up Sophia's trail again and leads Rick through the forest, killing a walker on the way. Rick examines it for Sophia's skin under the fingernails and its teeth. He finds some human flesh, and the two rip open the walker's stomach, only to find, thankfully, that he's eaten a woodchuck in a very cool scene. Back at the highway, Andrea comforts Carol as the sun is beginning to set. After doing so, she asks Dale for her gun back. Dale refuses to give it back to Andrea out of fear for her safety, and Shane backs him up. Rick and Daryl emerge from the woods, and Carol breaks down, understandably, despite reassurances that they will pick up the trail in the morning. The rest of the group is quiet amid the confrontation. The next morning, Rick arms the group, and Andrea again demands her gun back, only to have a request dismissed by the others out of fear that she'll use it to kill herself. Andrea confronts Dale about her gun in front of the others and angrily tells him that he took away her only chance to die peacefully. She states that he robbed her of the choice by forcing her to save his life. The survivors leave Dale and T-Dog, whose arm has been bandaged at the RV, and head out to search the forest for Sophia. And as the day wears on, they come across a campsite where a man has committed suicide, and the next set of scenes is the ending of this episode. I'm for, if they want to commit suicide, they're one less person to feed, but maybe that's cold-hearted. Go ahead.
I'm kind of with you. Like if they don't want to continue doing this journey, I mean, why make them? But anywho, I don't have a lot on this set of scenes personally. But is it just me, or does Rick Grimes look like the blue collar version of Joe Goldberg in this dissection scene? I don't know. That's just me. Grimes again does fantastic consoling Carol. I'd snap on her ass though. Accuse me of abandoning her daughter when I did everything I could to save her. It's like, bitch, don't try me right now. I'm out here dying, risking my life for your kid.
There you go.
Why is Dale gatekeeping Andrea's gun? Great emotional speech by Andrea to Dale. Big props to Laurie Holden. I'm not the biggest fan of either of them, but I thought it was a good speech and it was portrayed well by her. I thought it was good facial acting by Jeffrey DeMunn as well. I thought that was tough. Like, he caught an earful and I thought he received it well. And no, Carl, you didn't do anything wrong. Your mom let Shane split her shit and it's awkward at camp now.
Damn.
I didn't say anything wrong there. I just said it aggressively. Great tension building as Carol calls for Sophia and Daryl enters the tent. And this is the last thing I got. But just imagine finding that dead corpse in a tent out in the middle of the woods in Georgia. I know the smell is crazy in there. Go ahead, Dustin.
No doubt.
Yeah, Rick looking for skin under the nails isn't to be confused with nails under the skin. Under the Skin, of course, was everyone's favorite recent movie review of ours. Shout out to A24. But anyway, absolutely disgusting move from Rick and Daryl to cut the walker open to see what it had eaten. Yuck, not for the squeamish. So if you've never seen this before, skip that scene if you get queasy. I completely get Carol being beside herself here, but in all honesty, Rick should have never went after her alone. Like when she ran off, Carol or at least someone else should have went with him. But really good acting from Melissa McBride here and a very emotional storyline. So there's two parts to that plan. Number one, Rick should have just turned around and ran back to the highway with her once he got her. But also he shouldn't have went alone. So there's plenty of blame to be shared. After a lot of filler and wandering through the woods here, I'm ready for the finish.
Yeah, and sorry, but there's a lot here for this final finale here. Daryl takes the dead dude's gun, and Carl is again told to fuck off in an attempt to talk to fuckface Shane, and tells his mother he thinks Shane is mad at him. Yeah, probably. Back at the RV, Dale is taking watch with his binoculars, and T-Dog asks why he's not fixing the radiator hose so they can get out of there if or when the group comes back with Sophia. And Dale states that he fixed the hose the day before, but he's trying to keep the group united in the search for Sophia. I get that. Back in the woods, the group hear church bells and run towards the noise, where they find a small Baptist church where they find some dead fucks inside just minding their own business before murdering the happy, lowly churchgoers. They run outside, find the bell on the automated timer. Glenn breaks the timer in frustration as Carol announces that she's going back inside the church for a while. Carl, Rick, and Glenn join her. While Andrea takes a rest outside in the shade, she overhears Laurie and Shane talking about his plans to leave, and hears Laurie tell Shane she thinks he's making the right choice to go. After Laurie heads inside the church with the others, Andrea asks Shane to take her with him when he leaves, pointing out that the two of them don't belong in the group, which is true. Fuck them. You know how great it would have been the rest of the show if Shane and Andrea just left right there? Man, it would have been great. Anyway, with daylight fading, the others decide to head back to the RV. But I can't read RV without thinking of Cousin Eddie. Back to there's an RV. But Rick isn't ready to give up the search for Sophia. Reluctantly, Shane agrees to stay behind. Carl, too, insists on staying with him, and Laurie agrees to let him stay with his dad. Rick tries to give Laurie his gun, but she won't leave him unarmed, so Daryl hands her the gun that he grabbed off the man in the tent that afternoon. Hope everybody's staying with me here. On their way back to the highway, Carol expresses frustration that their search turned up no leads on Sophia. Andrea chooses the moment to verbally attack Laurie for carrying a gun when she's been denied one for 2 days. What an idiot. Laurie angrily gives Andrea a gun, and she tells her to stop blaming Rick for what happened to Sophia because no one else ran after her like he did. There we go. She tells them she's tired of them not trusting her family, that any of them are free to leave anytime that they want. Feeling guilty, Andrea hands back the gun, and the group continues back to the highway. Almost there. Meanwhile, As Rick, Shane, and Carl search the woods, they come upon a buck stopped in a clearing. Shane raises his gun to shoot it, but Rick holds him back as a curious Carl slowly moves closer to the buck. Smiling, he turns back to Rick and Shane, who watch peacefully as the deer stands tall, staring back at Carl. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out. The deer falls to the floor, and so does Carl, who has been shot.
Yeah, opting out. That's a whole TikTok version saying suicide. Like, give me a break. Why are we not allowed to say that word anymore? Like, it's a real thing. People need to talk about it. It's just corny saying opt out or unalive. But anywho, church bells ringing would be quite the sound. I don't know how I'd feel if I was them. I think I'd be pretty scared hearing them, honestly. Dale should have told the crew the RV was fixed, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think that they wouldn't attempt to find Sophia first, but I feel like he should have told them that the RV was fixed. Church full of walkers, some good old-fashioned slaughtering in the church house. Sounds fun to me. I feel so bad for Carol not knowing or being able to find my daughter. That's absolutely crushing. Couldn't imagine not being able to find my kid. Lori and Shane are dumb having this talk right now without knowing they're in complete solitude. And awkward as Andrea reveals she heard the whole thing. This is about to be dramatic, and I'm here for it, honestly. Like, I'm ready to see some shit pop off. I appreciate that this show has a character on screen praying in church. Whether you believe or not is up to you, but to me, this is realistic to see from a desperate mother. Saw this coming. Andrea asking to leave with Shane. Yeah, I mean, I don't really hate them as much as Brian, but I guess them leaving now wouldn't be a bad thing. Carl, brother, you do not need to be going with Rick and Shane. I feel like Lori should have intervened here. Another character praying on screen. I see you Walking Dead. Rick proclaiming to be a non-believer but still praying is very realistic to me. You know, like the old saying, everyone's an atheist until the plane's going down. You know, kind of like it's kind of one of those things. So I appreciated it. Let me get my last two bullets and go ahead, Dustin. Tension is getting thick right now as Lori calls out Andrea and Carol on the looks they're giving out to she and Rick. I'm really liking the tension, the possible drama that's about to pop off. And I can't lie, I was getting upset wondering why Carl walking up on this deer kept dragging and dragging on and on. But then I wrote in all capital letters, damn, I did not expect his ass to get shot. That was a great, like, if you're watching this show on a weekly basis, that would be an amazing cliffhanger. Like, I would be just, like, pissed because, like, I'm ready for the next episode already. I thought that him getting shot, that ending was fantastic.
Yeah, that's how I was. I was like, what? And I had to wait 7 days to find out. But not that 7 days. Really good stuff from Dale, not telling the group that the RV is fixed. He's buying more time. See, that's a solid dude. Like, he just has the best interest of everyone.
Not a solid
in mind. Getting to the church here is tense. Like, it's really bizarre how the walkers were just sitting in the pews. Very eerie. Like, that's not what we've seen walkers do, just sitting. They're either standing or wandering. Like, that was weird. Can't be understated how monumental the plan that goes into motion here will be. Carl going along with the men sets off a chain of events that shape the rest of the entire show. But it really kicks off next episode. This is just the groundwork. Andrea, such a whiny baby. By far my least favorite character in the entire show. I see you have a gun. Shut up. Boss move by Lori to call the group out and everyone shuts up. Go, girl. Way to stand by your man. I almost forgive her for the double-decker cream pie in season 1.
Jesus.
I do find it funny. Well, maybe funny isn't the right word, but it's ironic that they see a deer here in the woods of Georgia in a show about zombies when in real life in 2025, zombie deer disease has been confirmed in Georgia. That's wild. That's a strange coincidence. It's completely unbelievable, though, that the deer would let Carl get that close, though. I'm not buying that at all. Yeah. But, you know, that nice moment is broken up in the most terrifying way ever. What a way to end the episode. I swear, as soon as he got shot and fell, Many Men by 50 Cent just started playing in my head. And then I'll just end it by saying, you know, this episode wasn't without its flaws, but it's still solid overall. Carl getting shot sets up a colossal chain of events to the show. I gave this one an 8.25.
Nice. My least favorite kill is going to be those lowly churchgoers that were just in there worshiping when they were murdered for no reason. Do you guys have any more? I've got two trivia bullet points, Dustin.
I got 4, so why don't you go ahead? That way I might be able to mark some of these off.
Okay, this episode won an Emmy for outstanding prosthetic makeup for a series, miniseries, movie, or special. And when Rick is on the walkie-talkie at the beginning, you see Grady Memorial Hospital in the background. That's the same hospital where Beth is taken in season 5.
And Nico doesn't even know who Beth is. Um, the other two that I've got is that the cast and crew used peppermint soap to keep ticks and mosquitoes away because that highway scene was shot on Interstate 20 in a heat wave. So they probably needed that. And this is the last episode to be produced by original showrunner Frank Darabont. The usual creative differences were cited for the reasons why he was fired, but in subsequent years, it transpired that there were bullying allegations directed at him as well. Glenn Mazzara stepped up to take on the role of running the show until he was replaced by Scott M. Gimple in season 4.
All right, fellas, you guys ready for episode 2? Bloodletting?
Let's do it.
We open up in a flashback to the day Rick was shot. Lori and her friend Paula are having a conversation outside of school, discussing the same fight that Rick and Shane discussed before the shootout in the series open. She admits that she sometimes wonders if she loves Rick anymore. And that's when Shane pulls up and tells her about the shooting. She doesn't deserve Rick. When Carl emerges from his school with his backpack around his shoulders, Lori kneels down to tell him. Shane watches, brokenhearted, as she tells him what happened, and Carl bursts into tears, hugging his mother. Insert Walking Dead intro here. Mike says we don't skip the intro. In the present, Rick is running fast as fuck, boy, through a field. Carl, unresponsive in his arms, and oh yeah, I forgot at this point that he had gotten shot for some reason. I guess because the flashback had me sucked in. Shane follows behind with fat ass Hunter, who's struggling to keep up. And this is the man who shot Carl, and Shane is giving him hell for it. How far? Rick yells, turning back around only for a second, and the Hunter breathlessly sends him ahead. Ask for Herschel. Tell him Otis sent you. Rick crosses a tree line and a farmhouse is visible. He quickens his pace, and we see the gorgeous Maggie looking through a pair of binoculars, shouting, Dad, once she sees Rick and Carl. Rick stops when he reaches the front steps of the farmhouse, staring up at an old man surrounded by his family and begging, Are you Herschel? He explains that fat ass Otis shot his son, and Herschel immediately enlists the help of Maggie, his daughter, and another woman, Patricia, Otis's wife, to help save Carl. Herschel asks Carl's blood type, and Rick says A positive, same as mine. But Herschel looks no less relieved when he replies, That's fortunate. Don't wander far. I'm going to need you. Herschel determines that the bullet broke into pieces and that he needs to operate. Meanwhile, as they trudge back to the highway, the others have heard the gunshot in the woods, and no one's more concerned than Lori. Why was it just one gunshot? She asks, knowing Rick and Shane wouldn't waste a bullet to take down a single walker. Back at the traffic jam on the highway, Dale and T-Dog are trying to salvage what they can to survive when Dale asks T-Dog how he's feeling with the cut on his arm, now covered with a gauze bandage and some gaffer tape. T-Dog dodges the question and Dale presses him. Lifting T-Dog's makeshift bandage, Dale notices that he is developing blood infection. Lightheaded, T-Dog laughs off the old man. Wouldn't that be the way? World's gone to hell, dead people risen up to eat the living, and old Theodore Douglas gets done in by a cut on his arm. Dale insists that they need to start looking for antibiotics, stunned that they've yet to find one with all the cars that they've looked through.
Yeah, dead ass. Like, what a pathetic way to go, man. Like, get eaten by a zombie like a man. I'm just kidding. All right. A woman got mad in an argument when the man was being reasonable. I will never understand women. Anywho, and I'm not even hating right now. That's literally what Lori said in this show. So, ladies, debate a wall. This should be a touching moment with Carl finding out about his daddy getting shot. But I'm pretty furious seeing Lori and Shane right now. Has there been something going on for a lot longer than I know of? Like, I'm sure I'll find out. Maybe not, but I don't know. Like, there's a weird dynamic. Grimes does fantastic in carrying his son the whole way, fighting through exhaustion and grief to that farmhouse. Very impressive how the family immediately goes into like emergency room mode as well. I thought that was awesome. And I forgot about Lauren Cohan being in the show. I thought she was great in that movie, The Boy. We live tweeted it one night. I'm going to pick it sometime down the road. I thought she was the bright spot of that movie. And Carol just pissed me off with the tone of voice she used, talking about Amy to Andrea. Like, come on, Aunt Carol. Like, no, I didn't really care for that. And I can see why Daryl became a fan favorite. Man gives no shits, and he's kind of a badass. I like this guy. Big props to the effects team. Obviously, T-Dog's wound looks great. But how bleak is his situation? I do appreciate him using dark humor to cope with it. And give me a break, Dale. You really think you're going to find antibiotics in a random car on the highway? I mean, I guess it's better than just sitting around doing nothing, but you're like, let's go see if we can find some amoxicillin in this Nissan Altima. All right, cool. Go ahead, Dustin.
I mean, it's feasible if people packed up everything that they need to survive. Someone was probably dealing with something. But, man, what an open. Carl getting popped was the last thing we saw, and they make us wait to see what happened. But the flashback to the day that Rick was shot was a nice touch. Like, it gives context for Lori and Rick's relationship. We find out they weren't doing so good. And it's relevant because they both got shot. And it gives more of a backstory of how Rick got in the hospital. Very emotional scene when Carl came out of the school. I like it. I thought that was really well done. After the credits, we do get to present day Carl, and it's a frantic scene. Good stuff. I get being emotionally charged and scared, but they treated Otis like a dog, man. It was an accident. The way Shane was talking to him when they were running, my Lord. Then we see Maggie. My heart flutters every time. Lauren Cohen.
Relax.
Whew, special woman. And in real life, I'm a sucker for British accents, so her real life accent, oh my Lord. Anyway.
Relax.
Herschel and his family, they're such great characters, especially Herschel. One of my favorites in the whole show. I love that guy. Herschel asking Rick what Carl's blood type is. Yeah, Carl would be dead if I was Rick. I don't know my blood type, let alone another person's. But this is another really solid open.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the open was really good. Like, it was so good, it sucked me into the flashback, and I forgot, like I said, that Carl hadn't even been shot. So when it came back, I was like, oh shit, that's right.
See, I think the reason that it worked for me is because, like I said, I watched this in real time. So I watched one Sunday night, Carl got shot. So the whole week we're like, oh my God, is Carl alive? And so going into the episode, we're like, is he alive? Is he alive? So
Gotcha. We open up with T-Dog finding a pack of cigs in the glove compartment of a minivan, but his eye catches something in the back seat, a blood-covered, empty baby's car seat. God damn, that was hard to watch. Back at the farm, Rick blames himself, but Shane stands behind him, telling him not to blame himself for everything that happened with Sophia and Carl, telling him he will never get that monkey off his back. He assures Rick and Carl will survive getting shot just like he did. Maggie calls Rick in and tells him that Carl needs more blood, and Patricia sticks a needle in his arm. Herschel continues the operation, successfully taking out a bullet fragment as Carl passes out from the pain. Herschel states that he has removed one of the fragments, but there are still 5 more there that are buried too deep for him to get without putting Carl under. If Carl moved and screamed like he did the first time when he went deeper, he'd sever an artery, Herschel explains. Rick insists that Lori has to know, but Shane stops him from leaving his son's side to search for her on his own because Carl needs more of Rick's blood. Shane tells him to have the strength of his wife, who kept a bedside vigil for Rick after he was shot months earlier. I'll take care of the rest, Shane promises. Herschel tells Rick that Carl will need major surgery to remove the last fragments, but that there was internal bleeding and that they are unequipped at the farm for such a process. He claims that they need a respirator and more equipment to undergo this operation without losing Carl. And Herschel explains that these materials are all from the FEMA command post that set up the local high school 5 miles down the farm. The place was overrun last time I saw it, says Otis, but he adds, hopefully, maybe it's better now. Shane's prepared to go on his own, and Rick is guilt-ridden for it, but Otis volunteers to go along to right his mistake. Patricia, Otis's wife, tries to object, but he won't hear it. Maggie, Herschel's eldest daughter, offers to find Lori and the rest of the survivors to tell them what happened. Back at the RV, T-Dog, now delirious, tries to convince Dale that the two of them should take the RV and run, believing that the group will be quick to kill them as they see them as the 2 weak links. Dale blows him off, but he realizes that T-Dog's infection is getting worse due to an intense fever and continues looking for antibiotics after making T-Dog take some ibuprofen that he found to knock the fever down.
Cigarettes are not what you need, sir. Those are straight up cancer sticks, T-Dog. Put them things down. Good question, Rick. Why did you let him go with you? You don't need another kid tagging along while you're looking for another lost kid. This is just a recipe for disaster, and it ended up being one. I can imagine this being tough for, Brian to watch, especially your son possibly dying on the bed, needing your blood to survive. I mean, that's a heavy scene for a dad. Carl passing out was a good thing to me, though. All that hooting and hollering wasn't necessary for me as just a viewer. I'm glad he passed out. as crappy as Shane has been at times throughout the whole show, honestly, I think he's doing a good job of consoling Rick and keeping him level-headed right now.
I agree with that.
I can't lie. I thought he was very good. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to take him serious because he split his wife's shit, but
Jesus.
at least he's consoling him well right now.
I agree.
I can't lie. I'm getting pretty pissed at him though, just knowing what he's done to Rick behind his back. This is such a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
I appreciate Otis taking responsibility and volunteering to help find the high school and the supplies. Old blue Ford truck, I loved it. Whenever I get Brian Hathaway level wealth, I'd love to own a truck like that.
What?
T-Dog ain't wrong. The whole world was having a tough time. I do think he's kind of reaching a little bit with all of his other thoughts, but having a fever in this situation, damn, man. Feel bad for him. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, good stuff from Rick and Shane here. Very emotional conversation and you can feel the guilt that Rick has. And the scene in the bedroom with Carl, that's tense. Man, more good stuff with Shane and Rick after that. They have great chemistry together, and their bond is very believable. Like, you would believe that they're real life best friends or long time work colleagues at the very least because of their on screen chemistry. And I agree, Shane has been despicable this whole movie. Honestly, for a long time, it skewed my opinion of John Bernthal in other roles as well. But after finding out that he's a Washington Commanders fan, he's a great guy. Good humor from Shane to break up the tension there. When he said, "Is it too late to take that back?" When he said, if you need anything, I'll do it. And he's like, "Is it too late to take that back?" I laughed. That was funny. And Nico, I'm glad you pointed it out. Beautiful Ford pickup that Otis and Shane take into town. I'd love to own one like it myself. T-Dog's speech, so misplaced. Bro, you're left behind because you almost bled out. It's not because you're black. I know he may be delirious, but come on now. I'm ready for the finish.
All right, here's the finish. About 100 yards from the highway, on their way back from searching for Sophia, Andrea is attacked by a walker, but saved by my girl Maggie wielding a baseball bat. Glenn notices Maggie as well. Maggie tells Lori about Carl and jumps on the horse and heads towards the farmhouse with her, after which the walker sits up and Daryl says, "Shut up," and shoots it. I left. Back at the farm, Rick and Herschel share a nice conversation, and Herschel tells him how the farm has been in his family for 160 years. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it. He believes that the virus is temporary and that a cure will be found, but Rick tries to tell him that's a lot worse out there than he thinks. Just then, Maggie and Lori arrive at the house, and Lori breaks down when she sees Carl. After Rick gives a second blood transfusion, Herschel hands him a glass of orange juice and assures him and Lori that he'll have a far better chance of saving Carl if Shane and Otis get back from the high school with the proper equipment. He tells them he's done the surgery before, but he informs them that he's a veterinarian, not a doctor. Lori struggles to accept that this is the best care available for her son, but Rick reminds her that shopping around is not a fucking option. And Lori is not reassured and anxiously suggests that Herschel is completely over his head in this situation. "Ma'am," Herschel gently answers her, "aren't we all?" Great line. Back at the highway, Andrea won't speak to Dale, who heard her screams in the forest. They decide to rig a sign for Sophia in the morning before they all move to the farm. Daryl, hearing how badly in need of antibiotics T-Dog is, gives him a selection of antibiotics from his brother Merle's stash of drugs, which he left behind. "Why'd you wait till now to say anything?" Daryl asks. Toss him in the dock. Shane and Otis arrive at the high school at dusk. They discover that it is still overrun by walkers, and they formulate a plan to cross the parking lot and get to the now abandoned FEMA trailer. Shane pops the trunk of the abandoned police cruiser and finds a set of flares. He sets them off, distracting the walkers and enabling them to reach the trailer unarmed. Herschel warns Rick and Lori that Carl's blood pressure keeps dropping, and soon they'll have to decide whether or not to do the surgery without anesthetic, which has a higher chance of killing him. No shit. But he also says that he will die without the surgery. Rick wants to go after Shane and Otis, but Lori commands him to stay for her and Carl's sake. And here we go at the last part here. After successfully collecting the necessary equipment from the trailer, Shane and Otis are quickly overrun. They lock themselves inside the school by placing a cotter pin in a sliding gate, which is being shaken loose by an overbearing herd trying to make its way inside, and we are left on a cliffhanger again.
Yep, another cliffhanger. How the hell did Andrea not see that spider web? And damn, did that walker appeal out of nowhere? Fucking Randy Orton out here. Maggie showed up at the right time, didn't she? Hell yeah, sister. Liking her already. I mean, we already know she's gorgeous, but hell yeah, sister. Daryl is funny as hell shooting that walker. Shut up and bam, arrow to the noggin. Loved it. Andrea hates Dale's happy-go-lucky ass, though, doesn't she? Touching moment with Lori seeing her ailing son. I think the show does such a good job putting its audience in their bleak situation. Like, you feel all their emotions. I really like that. A veterinarian. Holy shit. I would not feel that great about him performing surgery on my child. But like Rick said, like, what options do you have at this point? Like, you just want to let him die? Like, I guess you got to let the old horse doctor take a shot at it. And holy moly, Shane and Otis are fucked, aren't they? There's a whole army of walkers. Like, how are they going to pull this off? Daryl now feels the need to share he has a stash of medicine. That's something I feel like you said, Brian, tell everybody from the get-go, like, you're going to get, like, you're going to get sick, right? It's just going to happen. And smart thinking on how to distract these walkers. But after seeing the first season, I know these guys ain't getting in and out that easily. And yeah, Rick, check your pride, brother. I know you want to save your son, but you got less blood than a well-done steak. Sit your ass down. You ain't going nowhere. And I knew it. Walkers are waiting on them. Big man Otis, like you mentioned, you got to keep up, man. This is not the right time to be this out of shape, unfortunately. This is the last thing I got. Smart move by Shane getting into the building and closing the gate. But I ain't going to lie, this does not look good for them. This looks pretty hopeless.
Yeah, a good way to ramp the tension back up with Andrea almost getting got. Wish she would have. Maggie coming in and saving the day on the horse. It's like a dream. She's amazing. I don't know why, but every time I've seen this episode, my Netflix plays it in slow motion. Like when she's riding on the horse, it goes in slow motion. And Take My Breath Away by Berlin starts playing. It's the strangest thing.
That's crazy.
I laughed when Daryl said, "Shut up," and shot the walker with the arrow. That was hilarious. Herschel saying that he lost his wife. That was tough. I wonder whatever happened to her. We get an emotional scene when Lori arrives and a touching moment when she tells Rick that Carl wanted to give blood when Rick was shot. And a hilarious revelation that Herschel's a veterinarian. Like the shock on Rick and Lori's faces and Herschel's delivery, just absolutely perfect. Huge roadblock of walkers when Shane and Otis get to the school. Holy cannoli. Daryl grabbing Merle's bag of drugs was hilarious. Man had a whole pharmacy, including some of Walter White's blue meth. Yeah. And him saying Merle got the clap on occasion. That was funny. Blue packs of meth can be seen in Merle's bag of medicine. And that was actually borrowed from the Breaking Bad set. Both those shows were on AMC, of course. And there is a fan theory out there that the two shows exist in the same universe. Like, spoiler, if you guys haven't seen Breaking Bad, the final scene is left ambiguous if Walter White survived and got out of that or if he died. So the fan theory says because that show ended, I think like 2 years before Walking Dead came out. So the fan theory is that he left town, went across the country to Georgia and started cooking his blue meth down there. So it's interesting. I like it. I like that theory. Pretty good plan from Shane and Otis to distract the herd with the flares. And it was a tense scene. I also like how the scenes here frequently cut back and forth to the multiple groups. Like we don't linger on any of them for too long. So it's like as soon as we cut away, we're like, no, don't cut. I got to see more. But then you get invested in the other set or the other scene. You're like, oh, don't cut. I need more. So I like how that's done. It keeps us on their toes. And then just pure adrenaline when we cut back to Otis and Shane and see them in deep doo-doo with a very intense way to end the episode. I mean, this one had drama, emotions, action. It's a very good episode. I gave it an 8 3/4.
Absolutely. I've only got 2 pieces of trivia. You guys got any?
I've got none.
This was the first appearance of Herschel's farm, obviously. This was an actual homestead that the production found, and we're lucky enough that the family who owned it were happy for it to be used in the show. What was missing was a barn, which was built and aged specially in just 10 days. And this was the first ever role for Jane McNeil. She would go on to play Annalise on Ozark. Great show.
Yeah, it is a good show.
Nice. Yeah, that shit was funny as hell. Talking about you're a vet, combat vet, medic vet. No, I'm a veterinarian. Oh, okay. Yeah, but 2 great episodes. And I just saw Dustin text, and he's excited for me to see how this goes. I am too. Like I can't wait. Any final thoughts on these first 2 episodes? I thought they were great, guys. I was putting me right back in the mood. I liked it a lot.
Are you going to watch forward, or are you going to watch week to week?
Like binge it all?
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep watching it 2 at a time for now.
Okay.
Just because I got my birthday next week, going to MegaCon. Like we got shit going down next week. So
I got it.
Go. It's your birthday. Yeah.
We gonna wait for now. But anyway, we appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. We hope y'all are watching along with us. Go revisit these shows, while we do it as well. It's fun. I'm having a good time rewatching, or not rewatching, but watching this for the first time. I think it's kind of cool that I get to talk to these guys who already know what's going to happen while I'm seeing it unfold as well. This is fun. It's kind of like Dustin last week with Stranger Things. It's fun. We appreciate y'all listening. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody.